Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I hope all of you are having a great day as we get things started here with, well, a full show dedicated to computer and technology news. Because, if you've been paying attention, CES is in day 2. It's in full swing. And let's face it, the only way to really get caught up with all of the new products announced, all of the new features, everything that is being announced out there in Las Vegas, well, we felt it deserved its own segment. So today, full hour of computer and technology news with a heavy lean on, of course, CES. So we'll be getting to that in just a moment. But before we do, a couple things, including computeramerica.com. That will be the #1 place to find everything and anything for today's show. So if you want a link to any products that we talk about today, if you want to see videos that we talk about, just anything and everything will be right there on the homepage. Find today's show notes and you will be able to find it all right there. So if you're busy or if your hands are tied, don't worry, we got you covered. Also, be sure to check out the social media contest, which we will be giving away a prize from Logitech. That's right, every single Friday. And be sure to check out the video stream where you can watch Computer America and not just listen. So all that and more over at our website. So again, no guests today. It's just you, me, and of course, tons and tons of news that we should really, try to keep ahead of. And here we go. So why don't we just go ahead and get started with computer and technology news, brought to you by Fire Dragon Security. So here we go. All right. And, we'll start with this one. Quick, short story, not a lot to it. But, what's probably one of the worst things that can happen at a tech show? And the answer? Well, the power goes out. That's right. All of those fancy displays, all of those intriguing gadgets, they really don't mean that much if they aren't plugged in and, working, of course. So, well, just happened about an hour ago, actually, maybe 2 hours at this point. But CES 2018 was hit with an isolated power outage. And yeah, they said that, so far there's been no reports of any kind of mayhem or anything bad, just reports of isolated power outages at the Las Vegas Convention Center where CES is held. And you have big booths, such as, the big booths that are just flat out of power, unable to do their thing, and they're working to get the power back on, they said, and hopefully before long they will have it back on and the day can continue. But this is one of the first that the power outage actually struck the Las Vegas Convention Center during CES. Something very, very strange indeed. So again, just a short one just to warm you up. And let's start talking about some of the products, because that is, of course, one of the big things when it comes to CES is you're seeing technology that is either going to be this holiday season or in the next year or two. Well, this one comes a little bit sooner with Samsung and their Galaxy S9 phones. That's right. And they will be launching in February. So, not being launched this month, but next month they will be available. And hey, the infamous Galaxy S9, and ever since the S7 with its infamous battery problems, this has been a very tricky, kind of phone to see if people are excited about, because people, before the battery problems with the Galaxy 7, they were certainly happy with it, and then the battery problems happened, had one of the largest recalls, lost them a lot of money, and people were ticked off, to say the least, about the phone lineup. And yeah, now the S8 came out very, very quickly after the S7 was recalled, tried to distance itself, and now the S9 coming even faster on the heels of the S8. So they announced that the S9 will be debuting next month. And let's see. So they said that it will have the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus, of course. And they said that Samsung will also reveal when the phone will be available for purchase at the annual trade show, and it will take place at the end of February in Barcelona. So previous reports claim that Samsung will offer a peek at the Galaxy S9 at the Consumer Electronics Show, but a company spokesperson quickly squashed the rumor. Dun, dun, dun. And at least you won't have to wait until the customary spring event Samsung typically holds to launch its flagship devices, while like it did with the S8. So, while Samsung next-gen phone chips point to the possibility of face detection, those supposedly leaked images also show a fingerprint scanner on the device's rear side. So, those were some of the rumors swirling about the new flagship phone from Samsung, was that it would have facial recognition. It's had it for a while, and it will continue to do so, and hopefully better, and face detection, so it's kind of passive and it knows kind of who's looking at it. So maybe even one device, maybe if you have kids or other people who share your device, it will have multiple profiles set up, and it would switch between them very seamlessly. So, hey, again, we'll know more here in a bit, but just safe to say that they did announce that they will be announcing it next month. So, there's that story. All right, so let's see. Wow, really, really quick ones, really, really short ones. Why don't we go ahead and talk about this one? So, it's also quick, and then we'll get into a bit of a longer one, but Dish. They have this thing called the Hopper. I mean, when it comes to technology and traditional television, Dish is one of the leaders putting new technology and trying to bring convenience back to watching traditional television. Well, looks like they're adding something a little bit more, and this just announced out at CES, where never mind using Google Assistant on your TV, Dish thinks that you should talk to your set-top box instead. And in the wake of Alexa's support, the satellite TV provider is promising Google Assistant control for its Hopper DVR. And they said that you can soon search for shows, change the channel by name or number. So you could just say switch to channel 5 or something like that, or you could ESPN. You could just call out the channel, and it would register and for you. Not bad. And control playback just by talking to your phone or smart speaker like a Google Home. And there's no mention of recording, but that limitation is present with Amazon's AI helper as well. Just don't plan on using it anytime soon. Dish is only promising support in the coming months, which suggests that you'll only be using Assistant in the middle of the year. So, hey, they say in the next couple months, best to plan on couple of months. Still, this makes Dish's TV service one of the friendliest voice control. And you won't have to be picky about your choice of services if you'd rather not reach for the remote or launch an app. So, yeah, Dish, again, they seem very, very on the up and up when it comes to new technology and integrating that with more traditional forms of television and entertainment. And I remember when they got in trouble for their Hopper service, which let you skip commercials with a single button. Don't think that it's not possible with everyone else. It's just that all the other service providers get so much flack for skipping advertisements that they choose not to do it. And for Dish to come out and say that, hey, we had that feature and we're keeping it, very, very strong statement. And now they are adding, hey, digital assistants, just showing once again that they are willing to go the extra step for new technology, even when, maybe people aren't asking for it or it goes against, in a lot of cases, their interest. They're willing to do it. So, all right. So this next article, really wanted to cover it because the HTC Vive Pro, newly announced and very exciting. Any advancement in VR, and we're waiting for some very serious advancement in virtual reality, namely no cord in the back of the head, and namely, just better feel to the whole thing. More sensitivity. Doesn't make you motion sick, things like that. We're waiting for some pretty cool stuff. So let's get into the HTC Vive Pro. And they're saying that the HTC Vive Pro complicates Oculus's vision for standalone VR, where the Vive Pro is an attractive wireless gaming headset. So what does that mean for the future of the Santa Cruz prototype by Oculus? So this coming to us from The Verge and Mr. Nick Stat, saying that HTC planted its flag in the premium virtual reality market this week at CES when it had announced the Vive Pro, a higher resolution version of the original Vive headset with built-in headphones and a wireless adapter for cordless play. And the Vive Pro is a natural next step for the HTC and its partner Valve. And, well, the new feature makes perfect sense. This many years into the product's lifespan. So this is a new generation, and for those of you who don't recall, the Vive was the better, just speaking strictly technology-wise, compared to the Oculus and compared to the Vive had outclassed the Oculus. And even though the Oculus was kind of the first to make a name for itself and be purchased by Facebook for billions of dollars, the Vive still gave it a pretty good shellacking when it came to actually shelling out money. The Vive sold pretty well compared to the Oculus. So they said that none of these individual features will revolutionize the VR market, but together they could notably impact HTC's primary competitor, which would be Oculus. And they said that HTC and Valve have competed with Oculus and its Rift headset pretty much since the dawn of modern VR. And for the last few years, both platforms have aggressively vied for market share in the high-end space. And as I say, the high-end space, very niche, very shallow market, and there's really not enough room currently for anything more than two. And I mean, heck, maybe not even enough for two. So, but anyways, over the years, Oculus has diversified its product lineup. It worked with Samsung to launch the cheap phone-powered Gear VR even before the Rift's release. And at last year's Connect conference, the company announced a standalone Gear VR counterpart called the Oculus Go. Now, here's where we get into it. The Vive Pro raises an important question. If HTC is overwhelmingly focused on the high-end VR market, will Oculus's measured approach spread the company too thin? If Santa Cruz goes to market, Oculus will have 4 consumer headsets, a business strategy that at times has been difficult to parse. And the Oculus Go and Gear VR are very similar, but from what we've seen, they say that the Santa Cruz fits nebulously between lower end and high end tethered headsets. So it's not going to be as probably powerful as a high end, but it's going to be a little bit better than just strapping a phone to your face. That's where the next iteration of Vive is going. So they said they declined to comment specifically on the Vive Pro. And Oculus isn't positioning Santa Cruz as a successor to the Rift, but as an adjacent device combines the Rift's sophisticated hands and head tracking with the freedom of a standalone Go. Makes perfect sense. So let's see. So yeah, let's go ahead and skip a bit into this article where, of course, here we go. So the Vive Pro doesn't necessarily threaten the Oculus's overall position. Is there a feature spec war? Always. And is HT ahead this week? Sure. An industry analysis from Gartner said, but I don't think that means that the competitive landscape has really changed that much. Even though HTC might be ahead right now, you have to think about Oculus, how they will respond. And by the end of the year, we might be having a conversation about the opposite situation. So, Oculus has a clear vision for wireless VR headsets and that enable everything from gaming to film to social networking. But it hasn't showed us a strong plan for how to get there. Meanwhile, HTC's more measured focus on PC-powered VR could push Oculus into a tough choice about where to put its money and develop recruitment efforts. So let's see. Facebook has no shortage of money, and Oculus could just keep building different headsets until one platform breaks into the mainstream. No headset has won the VR platform wars yet, and we don't know whether it will appeal primarily to gamers who are used to shelling out lots of money for hardware, or people who want lower-end headsets for video and other applications. And they wrap up saying that VR has very big potential. But getting there, it's a bit of a struggle. And at CES, there's been a lot of interest and a lot of hype about virtual reality, but it's still a very small market. You're still competing for the very, very few people who are willing to pay money and have the equipment to utilize something like this. So, but it's weird. I think in a world where people are starting to spend $1,200 or $1,000 or $900 for a cell phone. I think a world where they're willing to spend $400 to $600 for a virtual reality headset, assuming they already have a computer. I think the time of VR is fast approaching, where it's not about a full-blown investment. It's more, you probably already have the equipment. Now it's time to just make the investment into the headset itself. Because we're getting there. We're getting to that point. And, hey, it's very exciting. So, let's see. Oh, and, just real quick, just for fun, let's talk about the HTC Pro and some of its features, because, again, this last article was more about, how the HTC Pro fits into the Oculus Rift plan. So here we go. And by the way, if you're watching the video portion, you can see it here. Looks pretty good. That was one thing about the Vive, was that, or even most virtual reality headsets, it immersed you with vision, but in terms of sound, you still had to have a speaker system or you had to have a headset. And, well, they finally included that. So that's one of the main differences. They said that the original Vive debuted nearly 2 years ago, and the Vive Pro is clearly designed to address some of the complaints that the earlier headset had. And that HTC is increasing the resolution to 2880 by 1600, or about 1400 by 1600 per eyeball. That's pretty darn crazy, which is a 78% increase from the 2160 by 1200 resolution, the previous one. So much higher resolution than the current Vive. And hey, resolution does matter a lot when it comes to virtual reality. And they said it should help with clear text rendering and overall graphics, and the bump puts the Vive Pro beyond the Oculus Rift or the mixed reality headsets coming out of Windows. And alongside the resolution increase, the HTC has also designed the Pro to have built-in headphones. And the Vive Pro's head strap includes a sizing dial so that the headset is a lot more balanced, and it hopefully won't feel too top-heavy at the front. Of course, we'll know that more when we actually get our hands on it, but hey, it seems like they're really working on the ergonomics as well. They've added dual microphones and dual front-facing cameras, which are designed for developers to take advantage of, and the headset itself looks far less clunky than the original. And HTC has added a blue color to the key elements and the front display, so it looks a bit different, definitely distinguishes itself from the previous generation. They said it's also backwards compatible with Steam VR, so everything and anything you've been using your original Vive for, the Vive Pro will work for it as well. Let's see. They said that they're also improving the Viveport App Store experience for Vive. Most Vive owners probably buy apps through Steam VR, but HTC is introducing VR previews to tempt Vive and Vive Pro owners to buy VR content. And how well that's going to work? Probably not too well. I mean, Steam is already hugely dominant when it comes to digital distribution of video games, and yeah, that's probably going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. So, anyways, the Vive Pro, you can see it there. A couple of images here that you can check out. Definitely looks pretty darn good. So, there you have it. And yeah, we'll go ahead and move on from that one. All right, let's do one more gaming. Yeah, two more gaming products. They're kind of related, so I don't mind doing them back to back. And then, of course, we'll move on to some other computer and technology news. Now, these next two products, they're mice. I know, super exciting. But why don't we go ahead and talk about these two? Because, yeah, let's start with the Razer one. And Razer, they're well known for their peripherals when it comes to gaming and computer gaming. When it comes to marketing, at least for the peripherals, they have some of the most recognizable products on the market. And, well, looks like they might have another one. And, hey, they've even managed to find a way to work in even more LEDs. This by David Lum, out from Engadget, and Razer's Hyperflux, so Flux, wireless mouse is powered by its pad. So, yeah, I think this is something that Logitech has been working with their PowerPlay mat. But for this to come into a gaming situation, hey, that's pretty important. So, pads that wirelessly charge mice aren't new, but they are difficult to pull off, especially when appealing to high-performance gaming crowd. And they said that, Engadget had found Logitech's effort hit the right mix of reliability and ultra-low signal delay to be a viable choice. So, not to be outdone, Razer introduced its own attempt, and this was the Hyperflux suite. So, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared to shell out $250 for the privilege, which is a lot for a mouse. I'll be the first to say that. They said that the pad and the mouse aren't cheap, but they're priced identically to Logitech's PowerPlay mat and pricier mouse, and that's kind of the point. Where if you dig Razer's style, this is the mouse and wireless combo for you. And like its other peripherals, both boast high precision, and lights around the Firefly pad light up in 16.8 million colors. 16.8 million colors, that is standard, PR speak for, 256-bit color range or something like that. Anyways, it's, that's a pretty standard RGB color gamut. So, just make sure you're comfortable using both parts of the Razer kit, where unlike Logitech's PowerPlay mice, the Mamba doesn't include a battery and relies on the Firefly for power altogether. So, if you buy this one, you can't, charge it and then take it away from the pad. No, this works only in conjunction with the pad. So, So in short, once gamers are satisfied with the product's performance, then the miracles of wireless mat and mice may enter the mainstream and will never have to worry about manually charging a mouse again. And they said that the Hyperflux system will be available to select retailers in Q1 of 2018. And, you know, it looks pretty good. The fact that they're trying to compete with a product already out there, I think Razer really truly does best when it tries to push the limits and not imitate. But I will say, it looks decent. It looks decent. So now going from mouse to mouse, and we have just enough time, I think, to get this one in before our break. But going from mouse to mouse, another competitor, we had them on the show recently, but SteelSeries. I don't want to call it a problem, but there's a thing about mice with the optical sensor in the bottom, because long gone are the days of the mice with the trackballs. But when you lift a mouse, maybe, I don't know, a fraction of an inch above your mouse pad, it no longer registers mouse movement. And, that's probably a pretty good thing for a lot of people because, you pick it up, you move it, and it gives you a bit more room to manipulate your mouse. Well, turns out, SteelSeries thinks that might be a problem, and they're looking to address it. So, Engadget, Mr. John Fingus, and SteelSeries' new gaming mouse won't skip when you pick it up. And saying that if you're a gamer, you probably pick up your mouse frequently. And that's a bit of a problem when you're lining up a precision shot, since the cursor tends to skip the moment you put your mouse back down. Because, just the act of setting your mouse back down, there is that little bit of a jitter as it tries to think about where the last time you put it down was, and the minute it gives you another picture, it tries to reorient itself back to its original position, and that can cause a number of problems. So SteelSeries thinks it can tackle the problem where it's launching the Rival 600, a gaming mouse whose centerpiece is a second sensor from PixArt that promises to eliminate the surprise cursor movement that comes from whenever you raise your mouse, and that the component not only tracks lift distance to a greater level, down to 0.2 inches, but lets you customize when tracking begins and ends to match your mousing habits. So if you're used to a certain amount of leeway, it seems like you're going to still be able to program that in, but I guess ideally you would take it out altogether and you would get used to this new way of using a mouse. So there are also improvements for times when your mouse is planted on terra firma and where many gamers mice adjustable heights in one spot. The Rival 600 puts its weights on the side, where this allows you to adjust the center of gravity for the mouse rather than just its overall heft. And like many gaming mice, there's an abundance of customizable RGB lighting, and they have about 12,000 DPI adjustable. So there you go. The 600 will be available starting today for $80. Not too bad. And there's no shortage of alternatives in this price class, and each has their own tricks. But SteelSeries' main advantage is simply that it's addressing a common, if minor, problem. And if skipping is even slightly irritating to you, then you should notice the improvement immediately. So there you have it. I mean, I'm trying it now, lifting my mouse, dropping my mouse. There is that little bit of a jump that I know I'm not causing. I know that if I was in a different setting, it would be very annoying, but this is going to be a pretty niche product. But hey, it may be something that you never knew you needed. So again, that by SteelSeries. All right, so the music means we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. More computer and technology news And folks, when we come back, we'll talk about some of these other stories that aren't specifically CES related, but just computer and tech news. Everyone, stay tuned.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
So, welcome back to the Computer America Show. We are 31 minutes past the hour as we continue on, and we're going to go ahead and get into some more computer and technology news. So, let's see. So, if you missed the first part, we talked about some pretty cool gadgets coming out of CES. We're going to have more on that later, but I think now we're going to go ahead and move on to computer and technology news. And yeah, there's plenty of it to go around, and I think, all right, this one's a bit silly, so why don't we go ahead and get started with this one. And this is from Engadget, Rachel England, and drunk droning in New Jersey could land you in prison. And if you ever wonder why, they say, who would be so stupid? Why do they have to put those stickers? Why do they have to put these warnings? Why do they have to do X, Y, Z? And invariably, the answer to that question is, it's because someone was stupid enough to do it in the first place. So now they have to warn you. So, here we go. So why don't we get started saying that the law is pretty firm when it comes to drunk driving, and the consequences are obvious. Right, folks? Don't drink and drive. Now, officials are turning their attention to drunk droning, where New Jersey has just approved a bill, if signed by Governor Chris Christie, that would make it illegal to fly one under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And depending on which class of drone that you're flying, these things could cause potentially very serious harm. So, makes percent. Where, of course, they say that operating a drone with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08, which is the same as drunk driving, would be considered a disorderly offense under the new rules and would carry a $1,000 fine and up to 6 months in prison. So, saying that there's been no shortage of drone crash stories in the news in recent times, so it's no surprise that companies are offering crash insurance for their devices, but the bill, which was approved 65-0 unanimously, also aims to outlaw other shady drone practices, such as knowingly endangering someone's life or property, harassing wildlife, or messing with security of a correctional facility. And when they say messing with the security of a correctional facility, this has been happening where people fly drones over over prisons, and they drop off packages for people inside. That is a rising concern. So seems like this bill is looking to put some more restrictions on where, when, and how you can fly a drone. Saying that if you are caught doing any of these, you could face up to 18 months or $10,000 fine. And let's see. They said that 38 other states are considering restrictions on the devices this year. You can expect to see similar laws being rolled out elsewhere. I mean, I think it's one of the situations where there probably hasn't been a situation where someone was drunk driving a drone and caused harm to property or other individuals, but they want to get out ahead of it. They don't want to be reactionary. They want to get out and say, hey, if you're going to be piloting a drone, make sure that you are piloting it in a sensible manner. You aren't disturbing anyone or anything with it, and you are fully sober as you do it. So there you go. There you go. And so, hey, flying a drone in New Jersey just got a little less fun and a little bit more, safe. So, all right. So there's that one. And let's go ahead and, all right. So we covered this story, super excited about it. And then nothing came from it, or at least we didn't hear much about it. And turns out it's finally out and ready for business in select parts of New York, if I'm to understand this correctly. But saying that Tesla has finally begun manufacturing solar roof tiles, and they said that the process was delayed. But hey, hip hip hooray, the solar tiles are being produced and installed. So again, if you're watching video portion, you can see what they look like. They look like traditional shingles. There's no two ways about it. And there are, they don't look like traditional shingles. There are different patterns where they have like the barrel tile type. They have these like slate black ceramic tiles. They have lots of different patterns, but they're meant to not stand out. They're meant to look like a really nice roof. So, Tesla has apparently begun manufacturing its solar roof tiles at its Buffalo, New York factory, and this is according to Reuters. And they said that the company is also starting the process of surveying the homes of people who placed a deposit on the tiles last year for installation purposes. And yeah, they said that they reached out to Tesla for confirmation, but pre-orders for the roof tiles happened back in May, where customers paid about $1,000 as a deposit on the product, and U.S. installation was supposed to start in the summer of 2017. However, the process was delayed, but now it looks like most of the kinks have been worked out, and, well, they report that the roofs will be installed in the coming months. So, they said that the solar roof tiles will cost less than a typical roof, where the Tesla roof, Solar City tiles will come in at just under $22 per square foot instead of $24.50 per square foot. And the tiles are a solid option if you're planning on replacing your roof in the next few years, or if you're considering solar panels. And the tiles look like regular shingles, and in fact, every shingle installed is solar. And though you can't distinguish between the two, you can customize what percentage of your roof tiles are solar in your online tool, where the max is about 70%. And obviously, the more solar panels you install, the more expensive your roof is. And the company is still working on pre-orders with $1,000 deposits. And if you don't recall the story, the big part of it was that they didn't get it to a point where if you wanted to replace your roof just to get these, it probably wouldn't be economic. You'd probably be spending more than, what you're actually going to get out of it. But if you were going to be replacing a roof anyways, or if you were going to build a new home, these tiles would potentially pay for themselves over their lifetime. And that was the exciting part where, hey, if you don't have any previous investment, new roof, this was probably going to be your best solution for brand new roofing. So glad to see that it's finally being produced, and soon will be installed, because again, this had a lot of potential, and I'm really glad to see it out of production. So, all right, there's that one. And how about our daily dose of cryptocurrency is a bubble? That's always fun. Kodak you may know them. They're a camera company. And you're wondering, but Ben, what does a camera company have to do with cryptocurrency? And turns out, not a lot, but investors really don't care because cryptocurrency is so dang hot right now, where Kodak is jumping on the bandwagon for cryptocurrency. And here we go. Kodak's big film revival isn't working out as well as planned, which leaves it in a tough spot. How is it going to spark interest and raise a ton of cash in a hurry? And, well, they said the answer to that question is to hop on the cryptocurrency bandwagon. And the former legend has partnered with Wen Digital to launch a Kodak One image rights platform that takes advantage of Kodak Coin, a photocentric virtual currency where in theory the monetary format creates a reliable photo economy where the distributed trust of blockchain ensures you get paid in and securely the moment someone buys your pictures. And Kodak One, meanwhile, continues to crawl the web looking for copyright violations. So it seems to be a mix of the platform, Kodak One, and a mix of paying for it securely, which is cryptocurrency. Not a bad option, I guess, if you are a professional looking to distribute photos. Now, the initial coin offering debuts January 31st for accredited investors in the US, Canada, and the UK, and a handful of other countries. Now, all right, so they say that next there is a practical advantage to Kodak's approach. Ask any pro photographer and they'll tell you that they hate waiting for payments. However, it's no secret that many companies have been using cryptocurrency as a short-term cash grab to keep them afloat, whether or not the business model is actually sound. And they said that you don't need to look any further than Long Island iced tea, where it tripled its stock price after it announced plans to mine Bitcoin and renamed itself Long Island Blockchain. But it just dropped the offering and now can't guarantee that its Bitcoin mining will go forward. There was another company that simply added the word blockchain to their name. Like, they didn't change anything about their business practices or what they were doing, but they added the term blockchain into their stock name, and their stock went through the roof overnight, like 400%. It was like a penny stock before, and then it went up to like $3. So it was what it was, but it's so crazy to think of it like that. So Kodak Coin won't necessarily suffer the same fate, but it's not just a happy accident that the Kodak stock price more than doubled on the news. And the challenge will be proving that there's actually a long-term strategy and not just another attempt to capitalize on cryptocurrency. I can't say that it isn't. I mean, cryptocurrency, I'm not looking to have the conversation about the blockchain or the technology underpinning a lot of cryptocurrency out there, but for these large companies to start their own coin and to essentially, just say, hey, we have cryptocurrency, check us out. A lot of that seems like fluff. A lot of that seems like something that should really probably not happen. But hey, we'll see what Kodak Coin is and how it actually out. So let's see, that puts us in a position where our next story, all right, how about this one, because it fits in loosely with the previous story. And this is for Overstock. Overstock, they were one of the first companies out there to actually offer their goods and services for Bitcoin. And legitimizing Bitcoin in the early years was crucial. So to say that Overstock was, played a huge role in that, that is for sure. Now, the question becomes, what happens when even Overstock, which again did play a pretty big role when it came to Bitcoin, what happens when they mess up? And here we go. So this coming to us from The Verge, saying that retailer Overstock mixed up Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, letting customers buy items at a steep discount. And yes, folks, there is a difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. That is one of those infamous forks you may have heard about when it comes to cryptocurrency. And right now, Bitcoin is about 6 times the price of Bitcoin Cash. So they said that a serious payment glitch on the retail website overstock.com, which sells everything from furniture to diamond rings, allowed customers to pay with either Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash interchangeably, saying that it's a problem because the two cryptocurrencies have wildly different valuations. So they're saying that one Bitcoin is currently worth about $14,000 and a Bitcoin Cash is worth about $2,500. Again, about a six times difference. And meaning that those who paid with Bitcoin Cash could pay for an item for a fraction of the cost. So they said that worse still, if a customer paid in Bitcoin Cash and wanted a refund, they would refund the customer in Bitcoin, giving the user more money than they initially paid. And it's not clear how many customers have been taking advantage of the error. So it sounds like they, right, so Overstock seems like Krebs on security, Brian Krebs, does a lot of really great work, it seems. He was looking to purchase about $80 worth of solar lights off of the site, and Overstock instructed him to send about 0.0047 Bitcoin to pay for the purchase. And turns out they said they also sent Bitcoin, Krebs actually sent Bitcoin Cash. And they said that Overstock took it, which means he paid only $12 where he was supposed to be paying about $80. And a dishonest customer could have used this bug to make a ridiculous sums of Bitcoin in a very short period of time. And let's see. So because this was found by a security professional, and, it could have been found by others, but, Krebs, he's a pretty well-known security professional. Overstock. So Overstock had a statement saying that we were made aware of an issue affecting cryptocurrency transactions and funds by an independent researcher. And after working with the researcher to confirm the finding, the method of payment was disabled while we worked out our cryptocurrency integration partner, Coinbase, to ensure that they resolve the issue. We have since confirmed that the issue described in the finding has been resolved and cryptocurrency payment option has been re-enabled. So they said it was a bug in the API, but, well, hey, still something very important to catch. And it just goes to show that Bitcoin, it's a known technology. There's nothing hidden about cryptocurrency or the blockchain or things like this. It's not like one company's doing it and they have a proprietary, code that only they use. It's a known technology, but the people using it, in a lot of cases, don't seem to be the ones who actually know how it works. And this is yet another example of that. So, all right. So there you have that. It's easy. We have time for maybe one, maybe two more stories. All right. As much as we like the idea of self-driving cars, and as much as we hate the idea that, they could potentially not be as safe as, they first seem, it's important to cover all news about this new technology and not just the ones that confirm what we have to say about artificial intelligence and self-driving vehicles. So, a Ford-backed self-driving car involved in an accident that sent 2 people to the hospital. And looking at the tweet that they embedded in the article, looks like it was indeed involved but I don't think you can T-bone yourself. So, yeah, it looks like it was involved, but it was probably the victim rather than the one who caused it. Maybe. We'll see. So, a self-driving car operated by Argo Artificial Intelligence, which was a startup backed by Ford, was involved in an accident in Pittsburgh on Wednesday that sent 2 people to the hospital. So let's see. They said the crash happened, blah, blah, blah. There's the address. A box truck apparently ran a red light and T-boned a self-driving vehicle with 4 occupants inside. And that 2 people from the vehicle were injured and were in stable condition while they were transported to a nearby hospital. And the crash site is about a mile from the garage where they keep the car. So box truck ran a red light, hit or sideswiped or T-boned this car and sent to the hospital. And Ford, who was handling media requests for Argo, said in an email, "We're aware that Argo AI test vehicle was involved in an accident and we're gathering all the information. We're gathering all the information. Our initial focus is on making sure that every individual and everyone involved is safe." So this isn't, they said this wasn't the first time they had a crash. Uber had a crash back in September, blah, blah, blah. We just talked the other day about Panasonic. They make speakers. Panasonic is getting into the self-driving technology game as well. A lot of companies, and unfortunately, in a situation where you're going to have more and more opportunities for self-driving cars to get into accidents, they can control themselves very, very well, but they can't control other people on the road as well. So certainly something to watch out for there. And odds are we're going to be seeing a lot more stories such as these. So at least it didn't cause it, and the 2 people who were sent to the hospital are in stable condition. And again, even though it's AI, it can't stop another car from running a red light and acting out of the ordinary. So, all right. We have 2 more articles here. I think we're only going to have time for one if we really get into it. And why don't we go ahead and do this one? If we have time, we'll go off to the second one. But this article coming to us from Ars Technica, and we touched lightly on this the other day when it came to the speeds of internet. And the FCC is looking for ways to limit the amount of investment that it has to make into the infrastructure for Americans, because by law, they are supposed to be required to have access to at least one option of broadband internet. And again, John Brodkin, Ars Technica, saying that the FCC plan to lower broadband standards is met with mobile-only challenge. Saying many say that the mobile can't replace cable or fiber, but the FCC is arguing otherwise. And that Broadband Consumer Advocate have launched a mobile-only challenge to show U.S. regulator that cell data should not be considered an adequate replacement for home internet service. And, well, it's true. Your cell phone could be used as a wireless hotspot through your carrier, and you could connect any tablet, phone, or anything else that would connect to Wi-Fi. You could connect it to your cell data. The problem is that cell data is extremely expensive when it comes compared to a dedicated fiber connection. So the awareness campaign comes as the FCC is considering a change to the standard it used to judge whether broadband is being deployed to all Americans in a reasonable and timely fashion. They're probably doing this because, let's face it, the answer is almost undoubtedly no. I mean, a lot of people have internet and a lot of people have fast internet, but if you change the definitions to, where fast internet implies 10 megabits per second, then yeah, in some case, or at least in a lot of cases, almost everyone, if you are within range of a satellite, if you are within range of a cell tower, you have access to 10 megabits per second, and therefore, hey, even if you don't have a dedicated landline for your internet, look at you. You only have two different options when it comes to internet speed. Congratulations, that's very cool. But in practice and in reality, we know that these solutions don't actually hold a lot of water. So they said that the FCC wants to lower broadband standards. Organizers of the Mobile Only Challenge say that on the campaign's website, pledge to spend one day in January 2018 accessing the internet only on your mobile device, and tell them that that's not okay. The argument's kind of okay, but at the same time, there's a way to do it where, it's not that bad, because I feel like they're trying to say only use your phone. And there's a way around that where, again, you create a tethering spot. You still use the same computer, the same connection, the same everything, and you simply go about your day. Not feasible, because you would run into your data cap extremely fast, and certainly would not be on the same level of connectivity speed that I think a lot of people have grown accustomed to, but you could do it, and you could do it pretty comfortably. So the Mobile Only Challenge was organized by Public Knowledge, Next Century Cities, New American Hope Technology Institute, and the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, and more. So there you have it. So I think that's just about all we are going to cover. They said that, although we should say Comcast and what they have to say about it, because let's face it, they're a pretty big player in all of this as well, even if they shouldn't be. But Comcast urged the FCC to declare that the broadband deployment is proceeding fast enough, and that the current 25 megabits per second, 3 megabits per second upload speed standard is an arbitrary cutoff. Still seems pretty low compared to other newer technology being implemented. But anyways, they said that any factually based analysis of the marketplace demonstrates that Americans already have access to a growing number of offerings over varied transmission media, including fixed wireless, satellite, and mobile wireless, which are increasingly capable of very fast speeds. The problem with satellite is that it's just not that fast. It's really horrible. Like, they advertise speeds of up to X amount, but even then you get like 5% of what you pay for. And the other part is that mobile wireless, like I said, I just spent this morning uploading and downloading probably only like 7 gigs. But if you look at what my cell phone plan is, that would take up all of my monthly data just doing one day's work. A mobile cellular data plan is no replacement for a dedicated home internet connection. So again, it's kind of a deregulation kind of thing that the FCC is playing here, and we'll definitely see where that goes. So folks, music means we're done. Thank you for joining us. I know it was an hour full of computer and technology news, and we're glad that you joined us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow on the program as we have on, 33rd Parallel. 33rd Parallel, we're going to have them on, and we're going to be talking about, a neat little gadget for camping or for, other accessories. Hey, this is going to be really cool as we talk to them about everything that they offer. So until next time, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you for catching us here on Computer America. And until next time, hey, stay tuned. Everyone, bye-bye.